$2 million dead in the first day. Another 7 million by the end of the first week. Every defense annihilated. All our forces on the run. Regrouping somewhere.
We're in the EA booth here at E3 with David to talk about one of the biggest games of E3. Obviously, by all the awards that we can see behind us here. How's E3 been from a Mass Effect perspective?
Well, we couldn't be more humbled and honored to be here. We love E3. It's great to show Mass Effect 3 to the fans. We wish that we could show it to everybody who's coming here. But unfortunately, it's really kind of limited to only press and retailers now. But it's great to be back at E3, showing everybody Mass Effect 3. We couldn't be happier.
I think everyone's excited about Mass Effect 3, but you pushed it back a little bit to March, where it's going to launch now. Could you detail a little bit what that means for development and what that enables you to do?
Yeah, well, at BioWare, we're all about delivering quality, interactive, and immersive storytelling experiences. And really, quality is cornerstone to what we do. And we really wanted to make sure that this being Mass Effect 3 is the beginning of the Galactic War. This is the best game we've made in the series, and we want to make sure we deliver on that. We can't just say beginning of Galactic War and give you Galactic War, right? So we wanted to take the time to really put in the effort to really make sure that this was the best game we've put out.
One of the interesting things about Mass Effect is the fact that it was planned as a trilogy from the start, and that has enabled you to sort of line a path from the first game until the third game, where every decision that you made will add up to something of a unique experience. Could you talk us through a little bit about what this will mean in practice when you play Mass Effect 3?
Sure. So first and foremost, Mass Effect 3 is probably the best entry point into the series now, because it is the beginning of this Galactic War. The previous two games have been leading up to this. You've been seeing the rumors of the Reapers and whatnot. Now the Galactic War has begun. The Reapers have begun their invasion of Earth. This is the point to jump in if you've never played Mass Effect before. Now, for those of you who have played Mass Effect, obviously you've been able to make these choices and whatnot, and you'll be able to carry those choices through. You'll see the reactions of things you did in the first game and the second game. But again, for people who have never played it before, this is really where you should be jumping in.
So will you allow those players that are jumping in to sort of choose where they're coming from in terms of what decisions they made in the first two games?
So we've talked a lot about that. We introduced a thing with the comic in the PS3 version of Mass Effect 2. One of the things we actually got back from feedback from the fans was, if you've never played Mass Effect before, seeing an image of the Rachni and then saying, well, what did you do with them, doesn't really have any impact for you, because you're like, I don't know, whatever, I chose this option, right? So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to provide a better entry point for people with Mass Effect 3 who've never played it before. We can bring them up to speed really quickly, setting up the background, and then really kind of bring them in as if they were watching the movie or playing the game for the very first time without any background. You don't need the background. And then if they want to go back to get more details earlier on, they can play the prequels with Mass Effect 1 or Mass Effect 2.
So one of the major leaps between 1 and 2 was the combat. It was made much more fluent, much more action-packed. And from what I've seen on Mass Effect 3, it takes that even further. Could you detail a little bit how the combat has been changed up for the third game?
Sure. So really, I look at Mass Effect 3 as if it was sort of a concoction, a mixture. It would be one part action combat, one part choices and RPG elements, and then another part being that epic, emotionally engaging story. In terms of the combat, we had to dial it up so we could tell that big, epic Galactic War story. So you're going to be doing things really now, instead of just choosing how you lead in terms of dialogue options, you're now going to choose how you want to play the game as well. So we have a very robust combat system that allows you to, say, decide to play the game more up close and personal. If you want to do like comboed melee attacks now, we have this new thing called the Omni Blade, which is a special weapon where you'll go back, the Omni Blade will charge, you can stab people with it. Updated cover systems where you can really use stealth. If you like playing as a stealth game, you can sneak up behind enemies under cover, go back, pull them out over the cover, and then stab them in the head. Really lots of crazy, ranges of combat. Allows you to play the game for someone who wants to be very tactical, using the squad, all the way up to someone who wants to be, really all guns blazing Rambo style.
That was something that I wondered about with the Omniblade. Is it instant kills that you pull up with that one, or was that just for demonstration purposes?
No, we're really looking at the Omniblade to be like that, kind of uber finishing kind of ability.
You have to sort of get your enemy in a weak state to pull such a move off?
Well, we're still working out the details on the specifics of that. I mean, obviously, you can't go up to a boss and just kind of, Omniblade him, right? But certainly for like the lesser enemies and whatnot, you know, you pull out your Omni Blade and you stab them in the face, you know, they're not coming back.
And it's still an RPG at its core, and there's numbers working in the background like that.
So, well, one thing that we've done for the RPG elements is we've brought in this thing called the weapon bench. What this allows you to do is it allows you, even in a mission or on the Normandy, you can take any weapon you have, put it on the weapon bench, and mod it. So you'll be able to find mod and other kind of different loot drops throughout the game. And when you get these things, you can customize your gun to how you see fit. So if you want to, you know, if you play a lot being as a sniper, you can improve just the sniper scopes on some of your weapons to get more added abilities. And you look at that, plus we've enhanced the player progression system, giving you a lot more customization in terms of how you want to, you know, progress and upgrade the stats and abilities of you as Shepard or your squad mates as well.
So I understand you pull a lot of stats from the previous games and see how people play the game. Has there been any lessons that you've learned, sort of specifics about how people use the classes and what they play as, that you will sort of integrate in the design for Mass Effect 3?
So we're constantly looking at, you know, feedback from the fans in terms of what they put on the forums, what the press have to say, you know, even looking back at our, you know, telemetry data, looking at, you know, how people played, and that's obviously influencing our decisions, you know, all throughout the course of development, and we'll continue to do so. We're always interested in what the fans have to say because we want to make our games for the fans to enjoy.
So, and I always see that Soldier seems to be the most popular class. Is there any reason for that, or?
I think people just want to, you know, like sometimes the adept people can be maybe a little bit too intimidating for people. You know, like magic tends to not be the most popular thing.
But it's the most fun thing in Mass Effect, though. Biotics.
I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, I'm a you know, intimidator. I'm the guy who goes in stealth using sniper rifles. So really, I think one of the beautiful things about Mass Effect is that literally any kind of gamer can come in and play it. You know, people who want to be, you know, more tactical and want to kind of use sniper scopes and use cover, like me, you know, you can play it that way. Someone like you who wants to be more like, you know, using adept abilities left and right, you can do that. Someone who wants to just go in all guns blazing soldier style can do that as well. I mean, and everything in between. We have a new engineer class and, you know, a whole bunch of really cool things you're going to be able to do.
Looking forward to it a lot. So March next year?
March 6th in the US, March 9th in Europe.
If Shepard doesn't bring help soon, there won't be an Earth left to save.